Hello and welcome to Hump Design Factory Workshop lecture number 3, that is Blender to Unity 3D game engine, level design and lighting. I couldn't talk more about the importance of lighting and level design, since it's one of the key factors of creating your scene, environment, feeling and the beauty of your experience. And by the way, I haven't showed it yet, so here is textures.com. So here, if you are searching, for example, stone textures for your models, it's possible to click on one of these awesome textures, sign in using your kind of credits. 15 is free. So clicking on one of these, and then down you can find smaller, medium, large. Small and medium is free. You can find these albedo textures, also height map that you can include in your Unity and Blender projects, normal map and roughness map as well. But let's go back to our lecture 3. So here is Super Mario 3D World's 4-step level design. That is kind of really comprehensive video about level design. It's just a few minutes, so I recommend you to watch it before we continue. Here's the link. So basic of level design and lighting. So this is about 20 to 30 minutes lecture, mostly lecture, and then we have a small workshop for your task as well. So in levels like Elder Scrolls Skyrim, from Bethesda, and this is from the book called Practical Game Design that you can also read or borrow from the library. There is a refugee. So you know that there is like hunter-gatherers. They want to go to these kind of refugees places, like shelters or warm places where there is fire or something like that. Something that gives you shelter. And humans like to occupy intimate shelter spaces that are kind of overlooking vast open areas where you can see the potential predators that they are kind of gone. You can see the prospect, sort of. So people kind of like to approach this kind of philosophy of vastness, and that's very common in game design and so on, to see vast areas or shelter spaces. So that's where you need to aim in your game design as well. So kind of this concept of a vista full of prospect, understanding basics of prospect refugee theory. So kind of you can see this ancient gatherer that is lying dormant in us. So when you see those, it gives you shelter, kind of feeling of the game, even shivers sometimes, and it also invokes lots of emotions for humans. So concentrate on emotions and bringing those emotions to your game as well. Bring some feelings with something, and how you can actually do this thing is to implement lighting for your game design. So when we have these kind of dark areas like Light for Combat, like Alan Wake's Shield of Darkness, you can see that they play a lot with this kind of light and dark contrasts in your scene. So when the gameplay is proved in the game design process and kind of validated within your team in the grayboxing stage, which is the stage where you start your game design by just adding those boxes and gray environments over your scene in Unity, for example. So you get understanding how your art is going, and you can show it as a prototype and so on. Just not designing in Blender any difficult huge meshes. You don't need to do that first. You need to get proven and validated by your grayboxing stage and then play around there a little bit. That's what we're gonna do as well. So when you begin this grayboxing, it's important to get kind of proven. So the art implementation includes creating detailed geometry after the grayboxing stage, placing props and decorating the environment, adding those textures later on, and lighting as well. So lighting comes next. So without the lighting, without those dark areas where you can see only small point of lighting where to go, the hint lighting, it's nothing. So that's really, really important. And lastly, you create the special effects, for example, particle system and so on. And the effects of lighting is to help with navigation. A path of light guiding the player is very common. So you get immediate attention when you see a light there in the dark area, the where to go. So you will immediately walk to that direction. Light is a commodity, fuel with light. So basically, you could also recharge your energy with light or whatever. Light for combat, for Alan Wake, Shield of Darkness. When you are pointing your flashlight towards the enemy that does something, they get scared. That's also kind of behind our kind of the hunter-gatherer thing, where the fire is coming up, the animals are escaping and so on. Darkness is frightening as well, so shades to hide, so you can go behind a shade shelter or something like that to kind of escape the possible enemy as well. And then you can use the darkness similarly as a friend, so kind of hide in corners like in Metal Gear Solid. Also revealing light, so for example this Age of Empires game, you need to explore your surroundings and find more interesting resources and so on. So light acts as a really important role in your game design. So principles of lighting. Lighting is a very important part and the key to successful rendering of your scene. You need lights, otherwise it's going to be dull or even completely black. And lighting needs practicing before you can create convincing look for your scene. You can use this kind of directional light or sun to rotate it around to create day-night cycles and so on. For example, this view, prospectacle view, is from Skyrim, from Practical Game Design. Blender has also a variety of lights and they are awesome. But also Unity has lots of lights available. They are a little bit different, but they have also similarities. So usually lighting is added in Unity side and not in Blender side. If you want to render some images, use Blender. But if you want to use them real time in Unity, you need to use that one. So basically, Unity is real-time engine that all of the models are moving and so on. It's not going to render like in Blender cycles the amazing scene at once, but it's just you can move however you want. So the basics of lighting lies in films, games, and television, so you can watch those and learn a lot about lighting. And this is the 3-point lighting system. If you are lighting an object or whatever in the scene, if you need to concentrate, it's a standard method in using visual media such as computer games, 3D computer graphics, photography, film, and so on. And the photographer can illuminate the shot's subject by controlling the shading and shadows. So basically you need these 3 lights here. You have key light, fill light, and the rim light that is also called a backlight. So key light shines directly upon the subject like this pot here. Then the fill light fills the key light and brightens the dark areas of the key. And then the backlight forms a rim around the back of the object. So it's kind of kind of highlighting it. So practice those in Blender and Unity side as well. In Blender we have different lamps, and we have also those in Unity, but actually the sun is called directional light in Unity. So whenever the sun goes, when you turn it around, of course, kind of the day and night cycle happens. These are actually the Unity ones, and remember you have also negative lights to cast shadows, and you can also add textures to light as well. So when you are creating, for example, like room lamps and so on, you might need to add some textures there or some shadows. And you can play around with these in Blender side and also within the Unity side as well. Okay, now we are gonna go to our workshop a little bit, so feel free to open your Unity. And here we can see that when we have an empty scene here, we have one directional light. So if we have this rotating tool available and we rotate this light, you can see that the light is around different axes of the environment. So it changes kind of the day and night cycle. So if you are turning it all the way down, you can see this happening. And also when you are using the x-axis and turning it around, you can see that the whole scene is turning to completely black. So you can kind of, and then you can see in camera over there, you can see this one. So the actual sun is going up and down. So the day and night cycle is happening here. So this is also giving a nice effect for your 3D and game design. When we have this light here, we can also add more. So we have this usually in vast worlds, we have this sun or directional light. We can create more lights like spotlight or point light. So for example, this spotlight is working kind of similarly as well. And then the point light, if you want to create some kind of external lighting, you can use these ones, and point light here as well. So here you can see that it's lighting some of the areas here. So if you are playing with these, and you would see this kind of pile somewhere far away. Let's see if we are able to create a plane underneath, and we create a plane, and then we are going to make it a little bit bigger like this, and our player is here. We are also creating a material. Let's create a material folder here, and let's go to that folder and create a new material as well. Okay, opaque material is okay. We get it completely black, and then we drag and drop this material here. And then when we have this directional light, we can create a night. Like this. And when we have night here, you can see if the player is located somewhere here, that is automatically, it's really easy to glue here, and you can see actually the stone pile really far away. So I'm just right clicking here to this eye, and then using my WASD to go around the object. So for example, if I'm playing, I'm I'm approaching the lighted object. So you can see that it has something happening here, and this is almost like refugee. You want to hide inside here and do something. Okay, anyway, this is a good example of the light usage. Another way of building your game and prototypes really quickly is using assets. So Unity and assets are kind of married together, and Unity has this asset store. You can access to asset store by going to Window and then asset store. So the asset folder, it's gonna be next panel, right next to scene panel. You won't see able to see the whole store here, but when you search online, you can go directly to this website, Unity Asset Store, and they have hundreds and hundreds of assets where you can start with your development. They have RPG, fantasy, skiffy, icons, UI, physics, anything that you can think of. Some of them are free and some of them are cost something. What we want to do now is to approach our final lecture and our final task of creating some kind of interactivity in the scene that you will be able to kind of go around in the place and actually building your experience. So if you go here and you type starter assets, so this is kind of Unity's own stuff. And if you go to starter asset, it was previously called standard assets. It was made by Unity, but now it's starter asset and it works with your Unity version as well. So make sure your asset is working with this. And here, if you have signed in, you can add this to my assets. Okay, add it to my assets, and then you can open it in Unity. Open this in Unity. Okay, then this package manager should open up. So package manager is basically everything that is under this packages folder here. So you can see all of those packages you have enabled, but also in packages my assets, you can see that there is starter assets here. If you click on download, it starts downloading the starter assets to your work. And then when it's downloaded, you need to click on import. Here you can select what kind of assets you want to include. It's okay to have everything, so you can play around with this a little bit. So let's import these assets to your scene. So this might take a while. So it's going to unpack those assets from this website to our game. So this is a good preparation before going to the last lecture, where you need to build actually your experience and submit it. And because we need everything to our project, it's taking a while to add them there as well. And sometimes you need even to open your Unity again after that. Okay, it's done. And then it says that you need to restart also your Unity. Okay, excellent. So you might want to close your package manager now. And then you can see that you have your starter assets folder forming here. And remember that your sample scene that you were designing is here. So you can kind of say that this is my stone pile scene. Okay, I don't want to do that right now. But when you go to starter assets, you should have a couple of editors available. For example, third person controller. We are trying to search for first person. Where is the first person stuff? Okay, interesting. But anyway, we have the third person controller here. If we go to scenes here and we go to playground, okay, maybe I need to check it again. When you were selecting those things, maybe there was the first person, but third person is also nice. When you go to your scene, here you have a example scene, and when you click on play, you should be able to move your character. It has all of these sounds as well. Interesting, and also this character here. When you click on shift, it's gonna run. And here you can also add your own stuff here. When you go to models and then you have your model here, you can add your model right there. They have a camera there as well. Anyway, let's see what happens. Okay. So, like a third person is so that the camera is kind of behind. So you can see that the camera is filming the third person character here. A first person is kind of eye view. So if you are moving your camera to the eyes of this person, you can see that one. So you can't really play VR games or experience with third person, but this is kind of the gamifying of stuff. So in this game, by the way, if you click on ESC and go to your game and then maximize your view, you will be able to see the big picture of your thing and navigate and circulate around your object too. Okay, cool. try to open up the first person view as well to the next lecture, and then we are going to continue with that. Okay, thank you very much, and see you in the final lecture soon.